and you know, $10,000, I think would do quite a bit of work for us.
I'm going to move this, Brent's recommendation, this report, that we put up to $10,000 in the budget, because we are considering 50% from the feds, right?
Yes.
So in fact, it's almost
For these areas, are the, okay, motion, is there a seconder for that?
Yes, sir.
Councillor Cook, second. The fishing boats that are coming, they're Purdy's fishing boats, are they gonna have to dredge in front of their, where they dock the fishing boats? That's up to them if
Again,
they do.
yeah, they may if they can't dock their boat.
That's, but the harbor, the center of the harbor out through is going to be clear, as we've said that.
Yeah,
So
that
whether
would
they
be
can get the fishing boats, or whether they have to, so I guess if we're dredging and they have to do some cleanup for the fishing boats, hopefully we can coordinate all that all together.
Yeah, anybody who's asked, we've offered to be the coordinating point with the permitting and again, if they wanted to retain the services of our contractor, we'd have them bill them separately.
Yeah.
So should we put that in the Purdy's, because they are the only commercial fishing operation there, right? So we'll put that in the Purdy's, be contacted, let them know what we're talking about.
Sure.
Because their draft may be different, they got quite a wide boat, so maybe it's not as.
Yeah, they're not the only ones, but.
It's a big area.
Yeah. Councillor Scott?
Is $10,000 enough? I mean, when we talked about doing the Port Frank's mouth and getting that out of there, and then the two spaces in there, we talked $100,000 with Wiki matching some of it, right? Or giving us some anyways for that. And if we're doing at the one dock area, and then we're doing down further at this area, and even if we get 5, so that means we get 15 out of the deal. I mean, that's not very much. That's, to get that machinery there and then to put them, well, I guess they can do it from the dock, can they?
Yeah, at the launch ramp, they can just mobilize right to the end of the dock and pull it up. And then from the launch, or from the gas dock, they would have to go from a barge.
So we're talking availability at one
Yeah.
and non-availability at another because they have to include the cost of a barge in there. I don't think $15,000 is enough with the feds coming in on it. Would we not be better to put something like 25 and then get half for that one, so that might be another 5, and then we have enough. And if you don't, I just can't see an equipment loader, well, the last one we used cutting him all the way down from Goddard, right? So I can't see him.
He was I think it was $4,000 to come down.
Okay, so 4,000 out of $15,000.
You said 10, you're the engineer, so. We won't hold you to it, I mean, it's.
I'm an engineer in this, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a figure we have to start from to put in the budget, and I mean, we could go all over the map, we could say 30, 40, 50.
Just, so right now, the motion is that there be 10 added. So that's added to the budget that you have, that we've set at 2.5. We're adding another 10,000 back on that. So just so council's aware that.
And can I clarify, is that a net 10, or is that 10 and then what's
Funded
the
10.
grant?
Yeah, that would be a net 10.
Yes, if it's net, then you're right. It could be. Well, no, it's not necessarily 20, because only one of the two areas will actually receive federal funding.
So our portion 10 grand.
I think we can probably work with that.
Okay.
Any more discussion? I'm not talking an extensive amount of work. I'm talking we're going to do enough to make sure that boats can get in
Couple
and then get
spots.
safely toward dock.
We're not going about 4 feet, 9 feet? Is that-
Yeah, we're not center of the river at the most, and pulling back
For the launch ramp.
for the launch.
And this is to get the big boats in. Okay.
And
Do we have an option? I don't know what the ramp, we have a launch ramp in Port Franks. Is it deep enough, or we have issues there as well?
we'll have the same issues because.
Same issues there. So we can't say, okay, you can't get your big boat in here, but you could take it down to Port Franks and stop it and move it back in.
And I guess just to make sure, fully disclose everything, in reality, by the time March comes around and we're able to do the soundings, we may find that the level of the water in the river is only 3 feet, and at that point, I will come back and recommend we do nothing because.
It's going down, so.
It's going
Okay. All in favor of that, the 10 grand? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, so. So that's 10 there.
3
Well-
feet, we're not spending 10 grand.
Well, it's a, where do you cut your losses?
You gotta think down that road.
And you, when you look at the presentation from the chamber and the dollars that comes to our community through tourists and all of that, that's a big, it's a big section if the harbor people aren't there, so it's,
Huge.
we have to deal with the Grand Bend Chamber of Commerce, Report 16, that's on our, for council direction. We gave them, how many dollars last year?
$16,337.
Okay, and we said it was for a 2-year deal, but we didn't put a dollar amount for the second year. So in the budget, you have how many dollars already?
From the line that we took it from last year, it was under economic development and it was an advertising promotion line. We had 26,200 in there right now in that same budget line, and that's where it came from last year. Also from that line, I'll say too, last year when we had the community grants that were over and above what we had budgeted, that's where they came from as well. And we still have that issue, sorry for not clarifying that before, but when we approved the grants, they were all approved, and there were $6,800 more in grants than what we had budgeted for in 2013. So that number is still
Hanging in the air.
may impact this as well, so.
So if I was to ask, what's the dollars that we have in our budget now that could go towards the chamber? Do we have a number on that? Or without adding to the budget that we've got put here before us?
The 16 would be covered,
Yeah.
and if we put the 6,800 in that, if that's what we're thinking, right? 20% of 4,000
So we could give the chamber
without changing anything.
$20,000 without changing the budget. If they wanted to give them $30,000, it's another 10%. Councillor Scott.
Okay, but I know that we're supposed to have motions and stuff on the floor, but I want to ask this. If we bring up an economic development committee, and we have people on that committee, which we're working towards right now, and we have to hire a secretary, and this is long-term, this is not just a 3-4 month thing, we're looking at longer term, like, well, we're looking at longer than a year, we're looking at this as being a committee working towards doing different things. So the cost changes in that economic development section at 26.2 are gonna change.
Just-
There's
can I
another
just-
line for the,
This year I did add a separate line just for economic development for the committee and related expenses, because I wasn't exactly sure how fast or where it was going. We put $30,000 in, so that is currently kept separate.
So
from that
$30,000
number.
is separate right now.
yeah.
And we have the 26.2, which, now those $6,800 in grants, are they, like last year it was the movies and it was a few other things. I wasn't at that meeting, so sorry, because that was the first budget meeting and I was sick. So the grants that are outstanding at $6,800, what types of grants are they?
I don't know. It was, the current year, what was approved, it was a global number.
Right.
And that global number was over and above. They weren't approved in a different manner. It was that total number that was approved is over and above what we had put in the budget. We based the budget on last year's number on that
And-
line.
But those ones last year that we put under economic development were specifically things like that movie and at Grand Bend that did that. And I think it was the farmers, the young farmers group that did things like that. So we actually specified
They were
what
ones that didn't
grants,
qualify under.
yeah, under the regular thing. So those $6,800 worth of things shouldn't automatically come out of the economic extra 26.2 because they may not be the same sort of things that we based it on last year. So I'd like to know what the $6,800 grants were, like that are, I mean, I know you can't give me that right now, but we need to know that because some of that may come under something else. And you just don't want to automatically, because we did it last year, the 26.2, just take it out.
No, all the grants that were approved did qualify under the program.
Yeah,
We just had more requests this year.
right.
Okay.
Murdesh?
Yeah, my question is obviously we had this informal agreement for $13,000 and 13,000, but we paid 16,000.
No, 13 was done in 2012.
That was a
2011.
2011. That's